Yeah, it's just not. Is it not coming up on your end? Right.
Hello.
Hi, it's great to have
Hey.
some reliable connection right now.
Yeah. I'm glad we got tech issues figured out, but we'll definitely play it by ear because I know you said Wi-Fi is a little spotty for you, but I think that's everybody right now too. Oh,
Yeah, it seems to be it's I think it's really great that the internet is like a platform for everybody to stay connected even in the times that we're experiencing. And so I'm really grateful for this, and I'm really grateful for being able to have some of your time to connect with you and just to have a conversation about whatever is coming up for us.
yeah, absolutely. So you're a licensed acupuncturist as well, correct?
Yes, I am. I am a board certified Chinese medicine practitioner. I've been in practice for almost 10 years, and my practice exists on cruise ships.
Wow, nice. But you're in Colombia right now, correct?
Yes, normally I'd be on a cruise ship sailing around the world, but right now I'm in Colombia. I'm living in an ashram, and here at the ashram, I'm what they call a karma yogi, and a karma yogi lives at the ashram, and they work and return to understand and really get themselves involved with the practice, the yoga practice, because yoga is more than just doing the motions, the exercise. It's about the spiritual practice as well as the eating correctly and learning about yourself in a discipline. And so I'll occasionally give acupuncture treatments to the locals here. Acupuncture is not widely practiced in Colombia, and
Mhm.
I also work in the marketing department creating online e-courses for the ashram for people who are not able to attend the courses in person.
That's kind of the perfect thing to do right now. Everyone's needing virtual options, so that's amazing.
Yeah, I agree. It's been fun, but it's been a lot of hard work too.
And you said you have like a little bit of an online community as well. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so I have a fairly, I guess, large online community called The Circle. And The Circle is where I really started talking about the power of essential oils. I'm an essential oil fanatic and I love them. And I find that they're a easy way for people at home to really incorporate herbs, or so to speak, because essential oils is the life and the blood of a plant. And so that's why the group was created. But since then, it's evolved, and it's a really nice evolution because over the years that I've been in practice, I've met people who are Chinese medicine practitioners, and I've also realized that there are a lot of people out there who don't know what Chinese medicine is, and they get their first experience on a cruise ship, and then they go and see someone like you and say, I had a great experience, and I want to move forward and do more. So it's a place for people to come, feel comfortable, ask questions, for me to give value, and to invite people like you and other practitioners to speak about a topic you know, that is pressing, or talk about something that people want to know more about without having to feel like they have to go and make an appointment and see a doctor. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's a perfect segue from, you being on a cruise ship to be able to keep a circle and a community going, and then pass them to the right people when they can't see you directly, which I think, is really the hope that we all have, particularly at this point. How can we continue to bring value in creative ways and keep people connected at this really critical time?
That's right. So tell me a little bit more about your practice because I'm very curious about what you do. Are you a naturopathic doctor? You also do acupuncture?
No, I'm a licensed acupuncturist and functional medicine practitioner. So, yeah, like you, I went to a school for TCM specifically, and my practice is here in Beverly Hills, California. I am still seeing patients. Acupuncture is considered essential healthcare. So my volume is way down. I'm seeing people to keep them healthy and, offset any burden to the hospital system. Seeing a lot of chronic pain right now. A lot of people who have increased stress and anxiety due to the current situation with COVID. And also just, everyone's suddenly very mindful about boosting their immune system. So it's been really interesting because I've definitely transitioned a lot into telemedicine because there are patients who, are not here locally. They don't want to leave their homes. And people are more open to trying herbs at this point, which I absolutely love. Because there's huge value that we can bring with herbal medicine, and that can be done during a virtual consult. And people are really looking for creative solutions to all of these new problems that we're seeing. So to be able to offer that remotely has been awesome.
That's great, and I'm really glad that we're moving in that direction in our field, because I think Chinese medicine practitioners really have a stronghold when it comes to herbals. We understand it more than a Western medicine practitioner would, or even maybe your average, I guess I've heard people call themselves master herbalist, whereas you've got they're masters at Western herbs, but not necessarily Chinese herbs. So I have a question. So where did you get your education from? Was it from school down in is it Santa Monica?
Sorry, you were breaking up a little bit, but I know you just asked about my education. So yeah, I did my master's and my doctorate at Empress College in Santa Monica. So while I was there, I was working in the clinic the entire time. And then while I was completing my doctorate, was managing the teaching clinic. And that was a very cool experience because not only did it expose me to more the business aspects of our medicine and the way to set up a practice and, working with patients on that level, but I love working with students and I love helping new practitioners who are coming into the field. And so that management and working with interns and supervisors in that capacity has really translated into a lot of the stuff I'm doing now. And now with, having more time on our hands and the ability to really dive into a lot of the projects that we may have put on the back burner, like I'm finally working on my online course and I'm creating more things. Like I did a downloadable PDF for people for foods to boost the immune system. I'm working on one right now for students and new practitioners on things you can be doing at home to help build your practice. So just trying to dig into the stuff that I really love and that, some of the day-to-day kind of put on the back burner, but I'm really loving this time because I feel like everyone's being so creative and just really saying, okay, this is where we are right now. Maybe we have to stay inside. Maybe things have shifted in our lives, but change does not have to be a negative thing. And we're very adaptable as human beings. So let's go with that.
That's great. So there is no fear on your part right now because your practice is still up and running.
Well, there's definitely still fear. Like I'm still a human. I'm not immune to that, but I'm very aware of it. I think when you see the fear, you can either lean into the fear or decide, no, I'm not going to lean into that, because a lot of times fear is worrying about things that have not happened yet. And I would rather be more focused on the things I can control, and leaning into the joy rather than leaning into the fear. So that's what I'm really trying to help coach my patients with right now as well is, yes, there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of things that we could absolutely be fearful about. But taking care of ourselves is something we can control. What we listen to, what we see, what we decide we want to fuel our senses with, that's absolutely under our control right now, even more so than normal. Because if you're stuck in your house, you get to choose what you watch on TV. You get to choose what audiobooks you listen to, who you engage with, what type of content you're downloading into your brain. And is that helping you? Is it hurting you? And we want every piece of information, sensory, whatever, to be helping to heal us rather than hurting us.
So I want to get this clear. In the state of California, acupuncture is considered an essential medicine.
Essential healthcare, yeah. So what's tricky though is a lot of people have decided to close their practices anyway because they don't have enough personal protective equipment. So that's a huge barrier right now. So if you don't have gloves, you don't have masks, and you're starting to see a lot of healthcare practices who are really hurting for those materials. Because my volume is lower and I'm only seeing, the people that really need the care and that are still here locally, because a lot of my patients are in different areas right now due to this lockdown. I do still have that equipment, so I'm blessed in that way. But the people who are on the front lines are the ones who need the really serious personal protective equipment, and even they're hurting in different areas as well. New York is really bad right now. They definitely don't have enough supplies in the ER. But when the governor of Los Angeles, when the mayor of Los Angeles made the announcement about, hey, we're going to shut down non-essential businesses, people were specifically asking, well, what does that mean for a chiropractor, for, acupuncture, for physical therapy? And he said, look, you guys, we can't have people rushing to the ER because they have to go back on pain meds because there's not someone to treat their pain. We can't have people coming to the ER with really minor symptoms because they didn't do the work to stay as healthy as possible. If you have an ability to do that and to take pressure off the hospital system, we're happy to have you stay open. You are essential. And in California, acupuncture is considered primary care. So that's, another thing in our favor. And the state board has come out and said, look, it's really your decision as a practitioner if you want to stay open or not at this time. And so it was my choice to stay open and make sure that I did have, more protection in place. And also it's a lot more work to wipe down every single surface that a patient could possibly be exposed to, or that I could possibly be exposed to between each patient. So I've had to also stagger patients. It's not as simple as, changing bedding and wiping down essential materials. It's a very thorough clean of everything. So that's something that, I'm mindful of as well. But I feel blessed that I can stay open. I can still continue to help people who are able to come in. And then just transitioning to telemedicine for whoever wants that option as well, because there's absolutely value with TCM that we can bring beyond the needle.
That's great. I'm so happy that this is you're still able to move forward in your practice. I'm really curious about how you're able to support your patients through telemedicine. What are some of the things that are coming up for what you're seeing right now?
A lot of stress and a lot of playing catch up on things that, whether it's a health condition or whether it's, underlying emotional issues, people are realizing this is a time where they have the time to address these things. So I had a patient who had said, it just seems like there's so much going on, and my stress doesn't really seem like a priority I need to be treated for right now. And I'm like, no, that's exactly why your stress needs to be treated right now. Like, when else are you going to have the time where you're stuck in your house and these things are being exposed to you and you're realizing that these are issues that affect your entire life? And I had a conversation with another practitioner who's in Florida, and she, the law in Florida was to close all non-emergency. So that was like a huge shutdown of healthcare. So she was shut down, and she's been transitioning to telemedicine. And we had this conversation around how, we learn all of this other stuff in school beyond needling. And there's so much that you can offer. And when someone comes into your office, I spend so much time talking to the person. I do functional medicine, so I go over blood work a lot, doing herbal medicine, doing supplementation, and doing a lot of lifestyle modification to really support the acupuncture treatments that we're doing. So just because you had to close, you have a lower volume, or your patient can't physically come to your practice, you lose the power of the needle, but you don't lose the power of the medicine. It's supposed to be a complete healthcare system. And to be able to take the opportunity to educate patients on that and say, hey, guess what? There are things we can do to help with your stress. Coaching someone through an acupressure session. It's not, the same as them being able to completely just lie there, and allow, the needles to work, but is still something very active and very potent that they can be doing. And I like empowering people. So if people can feel empowered from having a 30-minute conversation with me, and they know that there's, 5 major takeaways that they have from that they can be doing over the next week, I'm so happy to support people in that way.
I feel very empowered, Dr. Nell, because here I am in another country and doing 2 jobs, but mostly doing marketing, and I'm pretty much not able to treat patients because I'm not on a ship. A lot of the people that I work with are stuck on the ship right now, and they're in guest rooms, and they can't even come out of their guest rooms, even though the ship is not even contaminated. But I'm very empowered by this, so thank you.
Are you able to connect with those people? Like, do they have Wi-Fi access? Like, how is that working? And what are you doing to stay in contact with everyone?
That's a really good question. I am staying in contact with them. I message them. I check up on them. I've been putting posts up on my personal Facebook page, bringing awareness to the fact that there are still crew members living on board. Even though the guests have left, there are crew members that are living on board. In fact, there's one ship who has 19 crew members who were evacuated to California to a hospital to be treated, and they're on ventilators, and they're in very critical condition. So it's like nowadays the cruise ships have become the hospitals all of a sudden, and that's where people are at right now. So, and I also know a friend of mine who was on another cruise ship, and none of the boarders would take them. They wouldn't let them dock there and they allowed them to dock and get provisions, but they weren't allowing them to go ashore. And so basically your cruise, which was initially supposed to be a couple of weeks, has turned into maybe like a couple of months. And it's been stressful for the crew as well as the guests, because the guests want to go home, and there's just a lot of stress that could be dealt with. So I am working on that, and I think that there is definitely more that I can do. So I'll be looking at that as well.
And what are you doing, like specifically you said most of what you're doing right now is marketing. So how exactly are you shifting your marketing focus around everything with how things have changed worldwide? I feel like, of course there would need to be some type of shift.
Yeah. So the reason why I'm here at the ashram is because I really embrace the power of yoga, and I think everybody should have a yoga practice or some kind of energy practice that allows them to use in a situation like this. And so I've been practicing yoga for a while, and being here doing the marketing, it was an avenue for me to learn a little bit more about a certain tradition, which is the Sivananda way. And I'm very passionate about online courses. I'm very passionate about teaching. And I've been working on courses. I have some affiliate programs from other Chinese medicine practitioners that they have made. And I've been always looking at ways to support them. And so my vision was, okay, let me come here and see if I actually can put together an online course, and if I am doing it correctly, and if my strategies do work, because for the past several years, I really struggled with getting the message across. And so I'm here to identify what are the loopholes, where have I fallen short. And so I've realized that I haven't done anything wrong, actually. I've done everything quite right, and all of the online courses here are successful. People are enrolling as fast as they can. They want to be here. The ashram's been here for 2 years, and the fact that people can't come here and live here and be here in the moment, the online courses are just like going viral right now. So
it's amazing. People are eating up knowledge right now and looking for opportunities for what can I be doing at this moment to make me feel a little more fulfilled, a little more joy. I think that's incredible that you're doing that. And I've been seeing all of your Instagram videos, and it makes me miss outside so much. So I could understand the draw to one of your courses, because I'm like, okay, so if I'm going to be able to see outside, like, it's still part of the experience.
I tell you, there is some stress here because there's pressure, there's deadlines that we have to make, but at the same time, I'm just like, I'm in the middle of the jungle. Just a couple of days ago when we were in Savasana, this massive you can't even call it an insect. It was a spider, and it's an animal. It was massive. It was just like crawling on the floor next to us doing savasana, and it was minding its own business, that we were not in any danger whatsoever. But I was just gobsmacked. I'm like, if that thing comes near me, that the hairs on the spider can potentially make you go blind. And I just
Wow.
thought, unbelievable. And then there was a coral snake that was crawling underneath the marketing office, and I was just like, I can't believe I'm literally in the middle of the jungle, and we live in an open area, so at any time dogs walk through, animals can come onto the balcony, and it's a little bit over the top for me, but if I make it out alive, consider me lucky.
But it's amazing. I think everyone's realizing that maybe we had a little more freedom of location than we thought we did. And I think people, like, as we're coming out of this, are really going to be rethinking, okay, how am I living? Like, maybe it's this simple, that I need to be in the middle of the jungle and make the online courses that I've been wanting to make. Let's be here. So that's amazing.
I think out of the whole experience, though, I do feel very grounded. I do feel more connected. I mean, the other day we went up for a walk to the waterfall, and the water was so fresh and sweet. You can drink it. And I just thought, wow, when I step away from my desk and I go outside and I look at the mountains and I smell the fresh air and I walk barefoot, I automatically feel connected to Mother Nature. And I feel this like melancholy, this energy that we all should be experiencing, because that's exactly what we need when we are working as many hours as we're working. So I'm really grateful for that. But at the end of the day, I'm taking away things here that I'm learning and the confidence to go out there into the world and say, hey, there's never been a traditional Chinese medicine summit before. Let's create one. You know, let's bring together these practitioners and start educating our doctors, start educating, you know, the lay person about why we need to start looking at not only our physical health, but our spiritual health and our mental health. It'll make us more productive, more useful. It will, you know, help prevent these pandemics, many different things. So
Yeah, I love that that's your passion, you know, educating the layperson. That's a passion that we share. I think there's such a need for traditional medicine, and a lot of people just don't know about it or have not heard about it in such a way where it's been explained to them in such a way where it resonates, where it makes sense, where it's something that they can ground within something that's familiar. We understand a lot of the jargon with our medicine, but the layperson does not. So to be able to explain things in such a way that really resonates with a person, I think is such a main factor for what's going to bring this medicine mainstream, what's going to have more people open-minded to it, and what's going to allow the most people to benefit from it.
do you have any practitioners that you follow that you really like to dive into? Like you said, you're doing some courses right now. Who do you really like to put your focus on?
So I had a really great conversation on Monday with Kenton from TCM Graduate TV. He's in Nova Scotia. We did a live together. He also loves educating new practitioners, which is what I absolutely love to do. But there are some like lesser known people that I think are just like really amazing. And even people who just believe in our medicine and support our medicine, but are not necessarily practitioners. So Marilyn Allen is someone who, so she's the CEO of A.AC, which is a medical malpractice company. And she's also the editor-at-large at Acupuncture Today. And she's been involved with WHO. She helped write, you know, ICD-10 codes. She's just like a world traveler and advocate for the medicine. And so I've always looked up to her. I consider her a mentor. I work with CSOMA, which is California's state association, and I sit on their board, and I think that's an association that's making a huge impact. California is so huge, you know, we have a third of acupuncturists in the country in California, so it can be a little overwhelming. There's so many different little satellite associations. But I love how integrative CSOMA is. That's why I got on board with their association. And we're really trying to do a lot of things advocacy-wise to create more jobs for practitioners. You know, it's ridiculous that we're not in every single hospital. You know, we should be at every veterans like everyone should have access. But in order to do that, you know, we have to have a little more unification nationwide. And I think education is a huge part of that. So like what you're doing, what I'm doing, all of this collaborating with each other and identifying people who want to speak intelligently about the medicine in a way that people can understand is what's going to make the biggest impact.
So you say that you want to see more education, but what else would you like to see and happen in this industry? I am familiar with the TCM graduate. We've done actually a few videos on Facebook. He's excellent at teaching points as well as teaching about the practice, and I just think he's great. He played a funny April Fool's joke today. I don't know if you've been on his Instagram, but he's trying to be funny.
I have such a talk about fears. April Fool's is one of them. So I'm a very gullible person. So so I've like stayed away from all the April Fool's stuff on social media. But I do like him. So I will go and look. One of my colleagues sent out her newsletter today, and she was like saying she had moved to Mexico and she's usually in LA. And I was like, oh my gosh, has she really? She's like, April Fool's. But that made me think about the freedom of location. I was like, look, we're all connecting on a global level anyway. Maybe I could move to Mexico and I'll just fly in once a week and treat patients in Beverly Hills and, you know, develop the online coursework. So I think this whole situation is going to make us all rethink a lot of things. And I think we're going to end up being more connected for it, like doing more things like this where, you know, we all realize like, hey, we should see what's going on in another country right now. You know, we should check in with other practitioners. Once everything went on lockdown here, I just started messaging people like I did with you who are elsewhere, because how else are we going to know what's going on unless you reach out and ask if somebody's okay? So I would like to see more collaboration happening. I think that starts super local, you know, whether it's your practice is open and you know that there's another practitioner who is going to be even better for this patient than you know, referring to that person, or whether that's, an international thing. You know, you're already set up very internationally because of the cruise ship, which is awesome. But I think we should be doing more collaboration and less competition in order to help push this medicine forward. That's what I would like to see.
I like that. I like that a lot. And I think I would say that a huge amount of Chinese medicine practitioners are probably thinking the same thing too, or on the same. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, our Wi-Fi keeps going in and out. I don't know if that's... Okay, I feel like our phones are telling us it's time to wrap up as the Wi-Fi keeps freezing. But it was amazing talking to you. I'm excited to speak to your virtual community on Friday at their Facebook Live. If you want to put in the chat the name of the Facebook group, if there's anyone who's interested in joining, I'll go ahead and save this video on stories so it'll be up for people to see. But I love to hear what you're doing. I'm glad you're very safe and sound in Colombia right now. My last question for you, though, is where should I visit in Colombia when this is all calmed down? Because I've always wanted to go.
Well, Barranquilla is near the shore, so anywhere along the coast is beautiful. Cartagena is beautiful as well. I flew into Medellin, and Medellin's more like in a valley. So the shopping there is wonderful, but and it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. But I would say for me, it would be along the coastline, and I would love to see Cartagena again as well. There's just Vanadurga is in a little area called San Rafael, and San Rafael is in Antakya. Antakya is just like this is Providence. And it took me 3 hours. San Rafael, and then take a 20-minute motorcycle ride to the ashram. And I had to get 2 motorcycles because I bought an extra suitcase because I shopped too much. So if you like the jungle, you want fresh water, you want to be in the middle of nature, this is definitely the place to come to. It's beautiful here. The karma yogis are wonderful, but I would just highly recommend going along the coast.
Okay, I will do that. Thank you so much. It was so amazing to talk to you, and we'll definitely keep in touch, but I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you too, Dr. Nell. I look forward to seeing you in the circle, and anybody else who would like to join the circle, just send me a direct message. Love for you to be there. The message that you're going to share with us in the circle, I will also be sending it out to my email list and also uploading it to YouTube so it's there forever. It's evergreen. So I'm really excited to see what you're going to share with us in the next coming days. All right, have a great day.
You too. Bye.